Hi everyone, my name is Heather and I'm the person behind Happy Puppy Truffles. Today I wanted to share with you guys another fun Shikishi or display board origami. Now Shikishi is a special board that we have in Japan that we use for origami displays, artwork, paintings, calligraphy. We also use it to send messages to people when they graduate or leave a company, for example. But this is a great way to showcase your work, and I think, you know, even if you don't have access to this kind of board, mat board works great. There's so many different things you can use. So I was kind of thinking about, I looked outside the other day and the sky was so gray, and it's probably partially because of the terrible pollution that we're getting blown over here from China, but it also makes me think of the nice gloomy sky that you sometimes associate with fall and winter. And when I think of that, I just always think of the East Coast and, you know, lighthouses and the rocky edge of the beach and stuff like that. Just that imagery that's pretty strong in things. So one of the traditional origami is this little lighthouse, and I thought what better way to kind of use it would be than to put it on one of these boards. And so what I've used here, and I'll have links so you guys can go back if you need to remind yourself how to make this particular origami. But what I did was I used taunt paper for this, and it's just a pale off-white kind of color. I'm looking for kind of trying to replicate the gloom of the feel of things. So I'm not using a lot of vibrant colors for this one. Now certainly lighthouses look beautiful by day, sunlight, with a pretty, you know, blue sky and the beautiful ocean. You could go that way too. I'll leave it up to you guys. But I really wanted it to feel cold, so I have my little lighthouse here, and again, you know, you only need half a sheet of taunt paper for that, so that's what I've used for mine. And then I just kind of got together some paper here that I thought I could use. I've got a couple of nice pieces that I can kind of layer over here on the top to be my sky. And then a little bit of darker kind of mud brown green color here from my rocky side of the beach, and then a little blue for the ocean, and it's just a very tiny little bit different than the blue of the sky. So to kind of make the sky just look even gloomier, I have some handmade fibrous paper that I was just going to kind of put over that as a layer to kind of, you know, mute out some of the color and really kind of separate the sky from the ocean a little bit there. But so this is all taunt paper, and then just a little bit of handmade paper too. So what I'm going to just start off with first here is just making sure that I've got my the top part up here completed for my sky. And for most like taunt paper, you've got a side that is more smooth and then a side that has a texture. I'm going to keep my texture side up just because I think that tends to look a little cooler. So in this case, because I'm only dealing with 15 by 15 centimeter paper and I don't have huge massive paper that I can use and cut perfectly to the shape of what I'm working with, I'm just going to go ahead and layer up these two pieces here and try to get them to connect as perfectly as I can. Now, one thing I have going for me is that I am going to be covering it later with another kind of paper, so this doesn't have to be exact. If you're leaving it just the way it is, it's kind of a judgment call. If when you layer the paper, it winds up creating this kind of dark band underneath because of being layered, that's maybe not cool. You may not want to do that. You can just try to snug these edges up as close as you can. But I'll go ahead and put some glue here on this so I can get this first part on my board. And then we'll see how much of the extra we need for the other piece. Now, you can also, of course, you know, use measuring tape and all that if you want to do that for this to make sure you're getting everything the right size. But, you know, usually I just kind of think that takes too much time, so it's easier to just kind of match it up and then fold it over to see how much you need. So I'm going to kind of see here. If there is like a way, a fiber that the way the paper seems to go, maybe match that. And then I'll just fold this over so that I can get it as close to the edge as I can. And because my paper is square to begin with, I can make these creases with a little bit more confidence and then just cut off the excess that I don't need here. And I'll just try to get this as snug to that side as I can to try to eliminate that seam. So that we get the section up there that's going to serve as our sky. Now the next thing I'm going to do is cut and put the layer that I'm going to use to kind of make it look more like a cloudy day here. And this particular handmade paper does actually, it's white blue, so there's like hints of blue in it, but it's pretty hard to see unless you put it on a white background. You can see that it's actually a pale blue. With the blue behind it just looks white. But this particular paper can be a little frustrating because it is really see-through-y, and when you put the glue on, the other side gets sticky too. So I'm going to try to use as minimal amount of glue as I can just along the borders. I'm just going to first kind of make sure that I get it so that you know, I can even have it just go a little bit beyond the edge of my sky here, and still later be able to kind of cover that up with other things. I want just a nice little sharp line between the sky and the ocean, so I'll get this kind of folded over here and cut this part first. So once you've gotten that cut down, then you can go ahead and put some glue here to kind of get it. I'm going to use a bigger piece of paper just so I don't run into the trouble of it getting sticky on the other side. It will get sticky, so I'll just try to keep how much I'm putting on here just to this outer edge. And you can tell just from doing this that it's kind of stuck to the paper already because there's the glue seeping through to the other side. So peel it up here. Try your best to get that smoothed out as much as you can. The glue does kind of seep through onto your fingers, so it's a good chance to wipe your hands on something or clean them up if you need to so that you can continue. I've got little bits of the fibers from the paper stuck to my fingers here, but that's okay. So I'm going to now go ahead and put the ocean piece of paper here, and I'm just going to put the whole thing here and then just worry about letting the rocky beach piece kind of cover things up. So I know that I'm going to match up in this corner, and then the other thing I just want to do is kind of match this edge that I've got here as close as I can. It doesn't have to be perfect, obviously, but I'll get a nice little piece going there. So I get something kind of like this. And then I've got my little rocky beach piece here. And what I want to do with this is tear it. And it can be a little tricky because I don't want it to be a straight tear. I want it to have a little bit of texture to it. I'm going to go ahead and have it stay just a tad bit taller than the horizon line here. So, and then have the lighthouse right here kind of standing on top. And so I'll just try to focus on creating a little edge here for everything. And I think you can just kind of play around with it in your hands and just sort of You know, do your best to create a jagged edge if you can. It's Tamp paper, so there's not that much fiber to it really. So you really just rely more on your thumb and the ability you have to kind of tear it away. But I kind of have something like this that might work. And then I'm going to go ahead and also just tear up here at the top because I think that's just a little too straight. Now this can obviously be a little more straight because it's just supposed to be like the ground. So I'm just going to kind of slowly tear across the top there at about a straight line. So I've got a nice little piece here that's going to serve as my rocky beach, and then I can just kind of have this little guy right on top. So I'll go ahead and glue this part down first. So that kind of gives you your finished little piece there with the lighthouse at the top of the rocks there by the beach. And as a little finishing part, I'll put my stamp on here. Like I said, there's so many different ways you can do this, and you can enjoy making your lighthouse, you know, in a different way. Certainly don't have to stick to doing it this way by any means. But that should kind of give you a fun little finished project that uses that traditional White House design. I keep saying White House, Lighthouse, goodness gracious. Yeah, so the lighthouse, there it is, sitting there on top of everything. And, you know, I'll have some more fun kind of design display origami for you guys to enjoy in the future as well. Thank you always so much for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.